And lastly, what messages resonate most in Washington, D.C. right now when making the case for tariff relief on European wines?
In Washington, I think probably the best two messages are, first of all, the sale of European wines are really critical to U.S. businesses. And they're critical to U.S. businesses in all 50 states. And the other piece here, these products are not fungible. Wine coming in from the European Union can't be substituted from wine in any other part of the world. When a customer or a restaurant is looking for a wine from Chianti or from, Piemonte, it can't be substituted by a Napa Valley Cabernet. It's a different product, it's a different consumer, it's a different occasion. And the US government has specifically said at times that products with a point of origin specificity, should be considered for exclusion. And we think wine has a really strong case to be made there.
Welcome to another episode of On the Road Edition, hosted by Stevie Kim. Each week, Stevie travels to incredible wine destinations, interviewing some of the Italian wine scene's most interesting personalities, talking about wines, the foods, as well as the incredible travel destinations.
So I'm here with Ben Aneff. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Aneff.
Aneff. Yeah, I can never get the pronunciations correct. He's also the president of the U.S. Wine Trade Alliance, and we're going to ask a few questions for him today. Number one, what's the current state of play on U.S. tariffs impacting Italian wine?
Well, right now we have a 15% tariff on effectively all products coming in from the European Union, including Italian wine. There's a possibility that there could be some exclusions at a later date, and both the EU and groups in the United States are working very hard on it. But as of right now, it's going to be a 15% tariff.
And are we expecting escalation, or is there hope for a trade deal with the EU?
It's a great question. The EU and many in the United States are working very hard to get exclusions on the current reciprocal tariffs. In the future, there are going to be some concerns around potential investigations by the US into things like digital services taxes or Airbus, but we'll sort of deal with those as they come.
Okay. How do these tariffs affect the US wine distribution system where EU wines drive up to 75% of revenue? Is that correct, first of all?
That's exactly right. Look, American businesses make a lot of money from the sale of European wines. We've built our entire ecosystem around it. For every, we effectively sell, let's say, $24 billion worth of wine from the European Union here in the United States, and we only send back $5.3 billion. The rest of that revenue goes to power the 200,000 American jobs in importing and distribution, the 47,500 independently owned wine stores in the United States, and the sort of innumerable restaurant jobs. Bottom line, the sales of EU wines and Italian wines are really a critical part of the entire wine ecosystem here in the United States.
Okay, and what can Italian producers practically do to protect and grow their U.S. presence amid this trade turbulence?
Well, I think this is a time to go back to the basics, and that means come here, tell your story. Consumers are really interested in what makes wine so special, and they want, I think nowadays, a closer interaction between producers and consumers. And I think, as always, letting businesses know in the United States, and whether that's your importing and distribution partners or your restaurant and retail partners, know exactly what makes your wine special. Those things, speaking as a retailer myself, it makes my job a lot easier the more information I have and when I can really put a tie to a place and a name and a bottle of wine. Because ultimately that's what we're trying to do. A bottle of wine, as everyone knows, everyone certainly listening to this podcast knows, it's the best way to transmit place to a glass. And the more you can help folks in the United States tell your story better, the easier our job will be to sell your wine.
Okay. And can collaboration between Italian producers and U.S. importers strengthen the fight against these trade barriers?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I think anytime you have a real systemic risk to the industry, it's absolutely critical that all aspects of the industry work together in harmony and communicate really well so we have a better understanding of the threats, of the risks in front of us, and we can put our heads together to brainstorm our way out of them.
And lastly, what messages resonate most in Washington, D.C. right now when making the case for tariff relief on European wines?
In Washington, I think probably the best two messages are, first of all, the sale of European wines are really critical to U.S. businesses. And they're critical to U.S. businesses in all 50 states. And the other piece here, these products are not fungible. Wine coming in from the European Union can't be substituted from wine in any other part of the world. When a customer or a restaurant is looking for a wine from Chianti or from, Piemonte, it can't be substituted by a Napa Valley Cabernet. It's a different product, it's a different consumer, it's a different occasion. And the US government has specifically said at times that products with a point of origin specificity, should be considered for exclusion. And we think wine has a really strong case to be made there.
Okay, great. And it's a wrap. Join Ben, Aneff, is that correct? The president of U.S. Wine Trade Alliance at Wine to Wine Business Forum for a much awaited session, Navigating Tariff Turbulence, Strategies for Italian Wine Producers Amid U.S.-Italy Trade Shifts. So, all right, see you in Chicago then.
See you in Chicago.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of On the Road Edition, hosted by Stevie Kim. Join her again next week for more interesting content on the Italian wine scene. You can also find us at ItalianWinePodcast.com or wherever you get your pods. You can check out our YouTube channel, Mama Jumbo Shrimp, to watch these interviews and the footage captured at each location. Ching ching!